G'day folks, and welcome back to Pax Hispanica. This is a forthcoming design by Phil Eklund. So I did some initial, I played through the first turn. You can see that on the channel. I'm at the start of the second turn, so you can see down here in the bottom left, this is basically the first turn. You go through 4 stages, a goods, auction, play, and sale phase in each turn sequence of play. Then you turn 2 basically. So goods, auction, play, and sale. I've already completed the goods phase, and this is really interesting. This is basically where whatever is indicated, illustrated here, produces goods. So we had Quicksilver and Silver. Quicksilver's down here, so you can see this colony, it's the only colony in this area, produces something, Quicksilver. And then way up here we had a Spanish colony produce silver. Now, to produce, these colonies have to, well, at this stage, they exhaust their workers. So these had workers on them, much like these colonies here. And they exhaust those workers to produce these resources. Also, as part of this goods phase, pretty much every other colony has to secure a source of labour. And at this early stage in the game, bearing in mind we're at sort of 1602, 1603, they draw that labour from these indigenous populations. So this English colony here, looking to produce cocoa in the, where's cocoa? In the very near future, coming up next turn. The workforce for this is the Darien people down here. So you literally, I mean, the game talks about kidnapping these people, and it goes into the history of slavery and genocide and other forms of indentured labour as well. So it's very confrontational. It's really interesting. Look, I'll save that discussion for another time, but it's a really challenging game, because you are literally taking these indigenous people, putting them in your colony to work, to produce labour, and then they well, in effect die off. And this reflects the history of these the colonies throughout this region, particularly Cuba and Hispaniola, being worked to death in this era. So yeah, very confrontational. And as I said, so goods have been produced, and as a result, so over here in Nova Andalusia, we did have, if you've seen the first video, we had a Dutch colony here, and I had a Kurlander, I don't know what, look, it's kind of an alliance anyway. They had a colony here, but because they could not draw on a source of labour, there's only one indigenous settlement here, these colonies were wiped out. So there's poor decision making. Granted, it's the first turn, but the Kurland and Dutch have made some bad decisions early on. They're also the least. This is most loyal. This is least loyal. So they're also going last. Hey, Hexy, it is part of my research for pirate games, or part of my search, I should say. This one is very interesting. It's a fascinating game, but it's more focused on, I am playing, I may have a personality. I may be, for example, as a Dutch, Peter Stuyvesant, as the English, I am Sir Walter Raleigh. But in effect, what you're doing is managing, it's almost an industrial, well, I'm about to get into the kind of piracy. So what's going to happen this turn is I'm now at the auction phase. So we go in turn order, starting with the blue player. So first turn, everyone's sort of focused on colonies. So you may see the colony, this is the colony discard, right? So everyone was focused on getting some colonies out, all right? So the English, the French, the Dutch, and the Kurlanders all tried to get colonies out. It worked well for the English and the French. I can't remember what the Spanish, oh, they got the missionary out, the mission out. So where's the Spanish mission? Here's the Spanish mission here. So I believe they can, so they've got a good colony here. There's no other places for colonies, so they can draw on this colony, they can draw on these indigenous people here for the labour here when Quicksilver is produced. So you can draw from your missions. Hey, Jeff, you pre-ordered it. Yeah, I've been looking, so basically we have what's called Board Game Oracle, and I will show you because in fact, it's an international website as well, but I'll show you the Australian version. All right, so this is Board Game Oracle. This is my wish list, and if I type in Pax Hispanica, which I was doing the other day, it tells me that it's available for pre-order. I'm going to wait for it to come out. I don't like pre-ordering from game sites in Australia because they forget about you. I don't do it anymore. They just forget about your pre-order and they go sell it to people. But it's coming out, should be out, I think, later this year or early this year. But this is the Australian version. There's also the US. It actually started in the United States. So if you're not familiar with Board Game Oracle, right, what you can do is go to the USA if you're based in the USA, and it shows you, prices. So look at the price difference: $63 from Atomic Empire compared to what was it, 120. So you're paying twice as much in Australia. But this takes you directly to that store. It's a brilliant site. It's free. You can also log in with your. So there you go. Pre-order. You can log in with your Board Game Geek account and add your wish list. So can I add what am I price watching? Let's have a look. It's got my wish list. It's got my wish list included. Anyway, there's a lot you can do with the website. I won't go into it right now. So I am at the auction phase, and I will point out, so you may recall if you've watched the first video, I was using a PDF of the rulebook. It was something like 300 megabytes, so a third of a gig for a PDF file, which is really slow to navigate. So I actually printed off a copy of the rulebook, which is easier to flip pages. So on our turn, and we have the French first. This is play order. The French first. They will choose what deck they want to auction from, and we have our colony. We could get more colonies out. We could get more colonies out. Do we go for, I see, the Spanish start with colonies everywhere. You can see they're producing these resources. All other powers have to start from scratch. So I'm thinking, okay, do we get more colonies out and start producing goods? Or do we, so the French have got, we need money. And the French have only got $2. So I don't know if I've overpaid. It's hard to know when you're learning a game how much things are worth. But what we want is ships. And I've realized that ships are available in the ship deck. Oh, that's kind of some common sense there. So this basically locks, this anchor symbol means it stays on your player board. And what else happens? Skull and crossbones. So it's a ship. Where's the ship symbol? Anchor means the action takes a space in a slot. Where's the anchor symbol? There's a ship. So if you have fewer than 3 ships, place it into your ship slot. Place a galleon into the pirating or into Europe if you have galleons there. So yeah. And where's the skull and cross? Here we go. Haven. Draw 1 Haven card from the Haven's deck. Okay. The French down here also now have a sway, a hand limit, and maximum actions of 2. So for example, if they were to take this ship card, they could do both of these actions, I believe. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to auction this ship. They are first. And they kind of, I haven't picked my player. So to play all sides, you do black game master, and I'll be able to see what everyone's got. Actually, hold on. Have I missed this phase where you get a Haven card? No, we start with Haven cards. You've got to draw more. So we have 1 Haven card left over. The French are pursuing this royalist. Oh, yeah, okay, we might be able to do something because, okay, I'll explain how this works first. We'll see if but we've got a plan to continue down this royalist path, which I'll talk about in a moment. So this is a card that's being auctioned, a privateer ship under the command of Admiral Peter Ita. Peter Ita. And they bid. So this is the secret bidding area. The French have got $2, so they'll bid 2. Then we go to the Courlanders. They've only got 2, and they'll bid 1 and maybe hope that they win it cheaply. The Dutch also with 2 have no colonies, so they're just going to, look, if we get a cheap ship, we get a cheap ship. Actually, the Courlanders are thinking the same thing. Oh yeah, they're bidding 1. The Spanish would love a ship as well, so they'll bid 2, and the English have 3. And they're going to say, well, if we get a cheap ship, we'll get a cheap ship. Then all bids revealed. It's a tie between the Spanish and the French. The French win ties, so they spend all their money and they get that card into their hand. And that's just basically how it works. and then we flip the top card of the ship deck to replace it. And what is this? This is a Conquistador. Galeones Admiral Juan de Benavides Bazan. Okay, so he's got a ship. It's a ship. It has an hourglass and is that the excommunication? Name a player with fewer peerages to suffer a midlife crisis and move a fleet from in Europe to pirating, and its owner draws a haven card. Okay. In any case, that's the French player's turn complete. We now go to the English. Now, the English also have a colony. They would love to have a ship to be able to get there, and they're on this track. So this basically on these cards, this symbol in the top right corner indicates how it's called a nudge, and it basically says how does this card push you towards a certain type of career. So in this case, this card will push you towards a royal career. All right, so it'll nudge you, and there's an arrow there down. So this will nudge the English down towards royalists. That's not so bad because they'll kind of swap sides with the English, with the French, sorry. All right, they'll be, as long as you have a career. At the moment, they're in the middle of nowhere, so they don't have a career. They're called callow. They're too young, naive to have a career. So if they take this ship, it'll push them into the royalist track. They don't know what the French are going to do. They can only do one, they can do two actions on the card, but they don't really care about the others, I don't think. Hourglass, I do have a summary on my browser, which you can see here, which is probably easier than going to that other chart every time. So the hourglass excommunication is not important, so this is not important, and the hourglass is move any fleet, which is also not important. Although I could build my fleet in Europe, I think. Can I build my fleet in Europe? Ships, place a ship token into pirating. Yeah, you have to place in pirating, okay. So look, the English want a ship. I think we may as well try and bid on this. Let's, or we can go secret. Let's dig, right click to dig for a face down card. It will be a ship. It might be better than this one because the English, as I said, will get two actions, and both these actions are kind of redundant, whereas we could dig, right click to dig for a face down card. Nobody knows what this is. We're just secretly bidding. And the English want a ship, so they'll bid on it. The Spanish also want a ship. They'll bid one. They'll hope for a cheap ship. The Dutch will hope for a cheap ship. The French have no money, and the Kurlanders will hope for a cheap ship. So when all the bids are revealed, the English win the bid. They lose 2 coins, and they win a ship. But nobody else can see this, only the English. And it turns out to be a privateer. All right, this is actually pretty good for the English because the Skull and Crossbones lets them draw a haven card. Okay, or you get 2 of these actions. They definitely want to place a ship. They can do what's called a tax revolt. Discard your citizen from the map to add a tax rebel. All right, I won't be doing that, but this one might be a good one. Draw a haven card from the haven's deck. Easy. All right, so they're happy with that. Money well spent. And this card stays on top. That's the English done. It's now the Spanish turn. And again, they need a ship. So they are thinking, again, that neither of these cards help them. So they might do another digging for treasure. The English will bid 1, hoping they get a cheap card. The Dutch are happy to wait and hope for a cheap card. Actually, because they don't know what they're bidding on, so they don't want to bid too much. The French are out of money. Kurlanders, the Spanish need a ship, so they'll bid all their money. Bids are revealed now, and the Spanish win it. Again, this is a secret card. Only they can see what it is. Oh, and that's worth it. It's a good card. Oh, it's not too good though. The problem is, all right, so this is the nudge. This is going to push them towards colonization. They're currently on the missionary track. So when this pushes them to colonization, they end up having a midlife crisis or pay $1. Unfortunately, they've just spent all their money. But it might also give them rocks. And rocks. I'm looking on my summary sheet and I cannot see the rock symbol. So let's go over to the Rosetta Stone and see if we can see it here. Here it is, it's a relic. Add a relic token to any colony. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So we might do that action because we don't want to have a that. We don't want any of that. I should point out, every player on this turn, special rule for this turn, has a sway of 3. All right, so that means that the hand limit is 3 and actions per card is 3 for all players. So all players want to have a good card, which means that the English can probably do 3 things on that card, all 3 things. That's the Spanish done. Now we get to the Dutch. The Dutch are a bit behind now because they lost their colony, so they might forego that one and just do. Oh, this is a good colony card. So we're going to colony auction this. Let them get 2 colonies out, plus some other stuff. All right, and they're out of money. They're down to 1. They're out of money. They're down to 2. So the Courlanders are thinking the same thing. But the Dutch are going to bid 1 and just hope they get a cheap card here. Now the Courlanders. It's a nice card for them. They're in the same position as the Dutch. Here it is, 2 colonies. I don't know what that plus. Oh, it's an armada. If you have fewer than 3 ships, take the top ship card and anchor it for its ship anchor. Oh wow, so this is actually a really good card. So the Dutch will bid 2 for that to make sure they get this card. Gives you a free ship. If you have fewer than 3 ships, take the top ship card and anchor it for its ship action. So you get a free ship. And the Courlanders are like, okay, well, we want to bid 2 for that as well. That's all our money. Nobody else can really participate. So the Dutch are going to... Did I say 2? I don't know what happened there. I moved the Spanish by accident. But the Dutch are going to win that. They win ties. So 2 versus 2. The Dutch win. They spend $2 and they get this card. Now they haven't... It is public because it was on top. We now draw the top card. And not as good. Okay, this will, from the pool, add an indigenous to a vacant colony of your choice. That is not the best colony action for them at the moment. They would like this card the Dutch just took. All right, so it's up to the Courlanders now. Everyone is pretty much out of money. I don't know if that's a good thing on the second turn, but yeah, money issues already. And the Courlanders, they must get colonies out. So I think we're going to, maybe we'll do a blind auction, hoping the next card will be better. Let's try that. So nobody knows what it is. Everyone's pretty much out of money, so the Courlanders can just bid 1 and automatically win it. All right, so they win this card. Only they can see it. Okay, what is this? All right, so we do get our colony. This is Melting Pot. Change a citizen to your color in a land zone where you have a colony. Change a citizen. Okay. Has to be a citizen though. This is a card with money on it. This is black market. Sell any number of market or haven cards in your hand for $2 each. Even after, okay, so they could sell this card, for example, for $2. And this is a, as I said, a tax revolt. Interesting. And it will move them north, which will push them up towards the colonists, which is kind of what they want. So yeah, good round for most players. Now, so that is the auctioneer. We've done our auctions. I could have done professional draw. By drawing cards equal to your reach. So everyone's reach is really low, so they'd only be drawing 1 card. Yep, so no point for that. Okay, so now we get to the play year. All right, we move this along. Now each player in turn order may play market or haven cards, any number. May play, sorry, not any number. It's maximum hand limit, number of cards drawn. Maybe it is any number. Any number of cards, the number of actions you perform cannot exceed your sway. So the French, for example. Okay, let's think about this carefully because first of all, they've got the sword fight. and they are not callow, so that's fine. Now this is going to push. Okay, so this is where it will come in handy. Right, this is a sword fight. This is where they swap places with somebody on the whatever this track is called. But before they do that, they will play this. This is their flagship. It's their first ship, so it's their flagship. We can lock that in place, so now it won't move. What does this all mean? Well, first of all, they have a ship. If you have fewer than 3 ships, place in the ship slot, which I've just done, and place a ship token in the either pirating, draw a haven card when entering, or Europe. It's Europe if or into Europe if my other ships are there. Okay, I don't know what that means exactly. My other ships are there. I think I place it in pirating though, and I draw a haven card. So that's good. Oh, now I've got 2. Right, now playing this card also nudges me up 1. All right, so I'm going to nudge up into the English. If a nudge would put you into a space with another player, you swap places. So I go from my royalist track now to being callow, okay, which is kind of not where I want to be. I want to be on this royalist track. However, turn is not over yet. Where's this card? So the ship is done. Ship action is complete. There's also a skull and crossbones, which is Haven. Draw a Haven card from the Haven's deck. I'll do that as well. So that I get the Haven card for bringing a ship in. I believe. Anchor actions. If you choose to play an action containing anchor, place its card into the blah blah blah. Add the ship to your ship slot. Arrange blah blah blah. Place new galleon to join your fleet. Place it in pirating if it's your own ship. If you put it in pirating, draw a haven card. Yep, so I do that, and then the second action is draw another haven card. So I've got 3 haven cards now. Now this ring icon means that if I'm on a callow space, I can move to any empty wedding space. So I could just teleport over here, or I could just swap with the English. So I've got a choice now. Do I want to become a buccaneer, or do I want to become a royalist? And these are the kind of the victory conditions. So I need 3 peerages or relics, 2 if with 4 more players. So this is the win condition for this track. Do you want to go for peerages and relics, or 1 peerage, relic, and war coffers full? War coffers full. I don't even know how. War coffers. Okay, the bottom track of the philosophy board shows chests donated for the conquest of Europe in the 90s war. Ah, this one down here. Okay. Export of treasure using Conquistador adds chests to this track, which is used in the Sun King victory. To be honest, that one seems pretty difficult. I need a peerage relic and have this track completely full. I feel like this might be easier, just getting relics. All right, so what that means is, yes, I do have these cards, but I'm just going to play this one. It gets discarded and shuffled back in the deck to move myself to any, because I'm callow, I can move to any empty wedding space. I'm going to move on the Buccaneer track. All right, so I'm on a track now. I've got an occupation, and that gets shuffled in. Done. Hey, Rogue. Yeah, it's apparently, so Rogue's saying never heard of this one. I hadn't either until somebody mentioned it when I said why aren't there any good pirate games. Somebody said check this out. So basically it was kickstarted back in 2022, and it's meant to be coming out later this year. But I'm browsing Kickstarter all the time, and I completely missed it. Pax Hispanica. I'm trying to find it. Maybe it was in Game Found. Maybe they went straight to Game Found. So Game Found is like an alternative to Kickstarter. No, not even on Game Found. So I don't know. Pax. No, it's not showing up. So I don't know. Maybe they just didn't go to. Maybe they didn't Kickstart it. Maybe it just went to pre-order somehow. In any case, the French have now married. That moves my personality to the marriage track, and I'm on the Buccaneer track. So now I'm pursuing peerages or relics. All right, and we just saw how sort of the French, the Spanish have this relic possibility. So I think the French will be looking for something as well, along with peerages, which is I don't know why that keeps rotating. It just doesn't want to. Okay, whatever. Your Bibles have a strength of 1. I have a feeling. How do you get a peerage? I thought it was something to do with Bibles. Reach peerage. Move the Bible. Top Bible from your playmat reach to cover this icon on the royalty card in the peerage space. Okay, I don't know. We'll get to that later on, I guess. I think it's going to be a long journey to gain peerage. Anyway, the French are done now. So they keep these 2 cards. They keep those 2 cards. Yeah. They could play another one, but it's just a sword fight. Okay, so they don't need to do that. We're pretty happy with where we are. Now we go over to the English player's turn. They reveal a card from their hand. They say, ta-da, we have this privateer, which we bought. It's got an anchor symbol, so this becomes our flagship, which I'll place there and lock in place so I don't bump it. Again, keep in mind our sway is effectively 3 for this turn, per the turn's special actions. Yeah, I prefer Game Found too. It's just, I don't know, it seems clearer and less tied to deadlines and everything. I can also draw a Haven card, and I may as well. All right, so I get 3 possible actions here. Okay, another sword fight. Sorry, playing this card moves me north. Okay, so I move up that direction. And what the heck? Let's play our ring to get married on the Royalist track. All right, so the French are here. I could sword fight with the French to flip spaces, but by moving on to the Royalist track, I just kind of avoid being adjacent to them and avoid potential conflict. Sorry, I should have finished this action first. I've drawn a Haven card. I can do this one, which is Tax Revolt. Discard your citizen from the map. Right, well, these are, I think, a citizen. Discard your citizen. Now, I think the citizens are my people, which I think are my meeples. A meeple of a player colour. So I don't have any citizens on the map, so I can't actually do that. To add a tax rebel in that land zone. I don't know what a tax rebel would look like. A tax rebel, QRST for tax rebel, C rebel. Okay, this is in the glossary of the rulebook, and it's saying rebel. A rebel token on a rebel site. It can be a slave side or its tax side. A rebel adds 1 strength to a fleet. Blah blah blah. Okay, all right. Well, I think that may be down the track. So no need for rebels right now. We're happy with our ship, which we need to place in the piracy space. And when we do that, of course, we draw a Haven card. Ooh, which is another sword fight or a romance space. Romance is if I'm in a Calais space, I can move to any other empty Calais space. So that's kind of good for example, if I was here, lined up in a Royalist, I could just move north. You know, I could play that first if I had a nudge which was moving to the right or something like that. It kind of just lets you maneuver your individual on this kind of career board. Okay, that I think is the English done. Okay, hold on. They have a handlet. So they are going to have to discard. Oh, well, our sway is 3 for this turn, so we may as well hold on to this, even though it's completely useless. Maybe we'll get a card that lets us sell these next turn. But yes, our sway is effectively 3 for this turn. That brings us now to the Spanish, and they are on the missionary track, but they're in trouble because they could be heading to a midlife crisis. And unfortunately, they can't have a sword fight because there's nobody adjacent, and they're not in a Calais space. They can't move to any other Calais space. So they either play this card and have a midlife crisis, or do nothing. Okay, well let's check out Midlife Crisis and see what they got no money, so they can't pay the dollar. So Midlife Crisis moves their figure to an unoccupied callow space of their choice. Oh, that's not so bad. You suffer it in one of three ways. Yep. To the unoccupied callow space B5A of your choice. Midlife Crisis just kind of means that you lose your position in a career. It's not that bad at all. This moves your figure. All right, so let's do that. Doesn't seem so bad. So the Spanish are playing their ship. I'll lock it in. First action is here. They get a galleon, and we'll place it up here in piracy because it's their first ship. They also draw a haven card as a result of that. It's another romance thing icon. That's it. It just moves their figure, Midlife Crisis, to a callow space of their choice. So they nudge off into here, which is Midlife Crisis or pay 1 coin. And then so I've got to think about this. Because I've got either a sword fight, which lets me swap places, or move to any other callow space. So I kind of want a sword fight to swap places with somebody. And because the French and the English have already gone, I'm going to move down here and then play a sword fight. I'm going to sword fight, I think the French. I'll get on the Buccaneer track because I've got a relic coming out. So if I can so I basically sword fight the French, swap places with them. I jump onto the Buccaneer track. They get kicked back into callow. And that's the Spanish done. Now the Dutch, who are here, and they're playing their surprise card, which is, and they can do 3 of these things. Right, so 2 colonies, free ship. They absolutely have to get a free ship. So let's do that first. This is a letter of marque. If you have less than 3 ships, move an opponent's privateer from their playmat into your playmat. Oh, privateer! I can steal. I can steal the French privateer. Pay them $1, which I don't have. So that would have been wonderful if I had $1 left over. That would have been fantastic. Not to worry. I will instead build 2 colonies. All right. So learning from my past lessons, I'm going to build this in there where there are people I can draw upon, and this into Guadeloupe. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So 2 new Dutch colonies, 1, 2, and this means a new ship card, an armada. If you have fewer than 3 ships, take the top ship card, boom, there we go, lock that in, and anchor it for its ship action. So I get the ship action, which is moving a card up here. When I do that, I draw a thing. This is now discarded into the ship pile. Okay, and that's anchored and locked in for its ship action. Now, this moves me north. Okay, I suffer a mutiny. So you do, sorry, I should have done the nudge first. The nudge happens first. Now, if I have multiple ships, discard the one with the nudge differing. This happens if you use nudge, but it cannot move in the direction. Blah, blah, blah. If a card's nudge calls me, discarding occurs before anchoring the card. Yep. So nothing happens because I don't have multiple ships. If that were to happen, I would discard the ship with a nudge differing from my flagship. So this is kind of saying, this is my flagship. I want to lean towards Royalist. All right, so now I can do a sword fight, and I'm next to the Kurish, and they're coming up next. Look, I may as well try to get on the track, right? They're probably going to kick me off, but I'm going to try and swap places with them. Put me on the colonist track. All right, so we sword fight with the Kurlanders, kick them off, and we're on the colonist track. We need 1 peerage relic, and the number of tax rebels is more than the mercantilism value. So I need 4 tax rebels, basically, to win the game. All right, interesting. The Dutch are done. They'll hold off this card, which is useless. Oh, wait. We have bonus. We can do 3 of these things. So we've got our ship. No. Where was it? It was this card that we played, right? It wasn't a ship card. This is a colony card. Right, so we did 2 colonies and a ship. Yeah, no, we're done. Yeah, we ignore, we just take the ship, anchor it for a ship. We don't do everything else. So the Dutch are now done. Leaving on last, the Kurlanders up here. And they say, surprise, we have a colony. Again, sway is 3, so they can do 3 things here. And they're looking around Espanol here, and they notice Saint Dominique as an attractive option to population people here. What else could we do? Yeah, I think if we do that, we'll get at least one of them. Only one left down here, none down here. This is what they did last time and failed miserably. No colonies throughout this region, so let's do that. Let's get a colony in Hispaniola. And what else do we do? We get a sway of 3. So we can also do melting pot, change a citizen. No, they don't have that. They could do the card with money symbol, which is black market. Sell market or haven cards. Well, look, this one is, that symbol there is romance. If on a callow space, move to any other callow space, that's not going to help them. So they may as well sell that for 2. All right? So they get 2 more coins. They're making money. Excellent. And well, let's have a revolt because they're kind of leaning towards the colonist track. So if they can have... discard your citizen from the map. They don't have any citizens on the map. And they nudge north again, so they have no ships, so that doesn't bother them at all. And this is a colony card. They would go into mutiny, but nothing happens. They're the only one without ships now, the Kurlanders. They've really struggled. So not a great card for them, but they do have some money up their sleeve. So they're in a good position to get some cards the next turn. All right, they're at the end of the track now, so that's done. We now go through, I think, the play phase. It's no time for play anymore. Sequence of play, auction year, play year. You can exchange hand, cards, money, and deals with other players. It's hard to negotiate when I'm playing solo, but apparently normally there's a decent level of negotiation. I think I'm not really sure what to negotiate, so we'll pass there. And now we get to a sale year. So in player order, starting with the French. The French. Skip your turn, you have no ships. So everyone has a ship except the Kurlanders. If you have a fleet in Europe, move it to pirating. If it starts in pirating, place it in a sea zone where you intend to attack or load treasure or labour. After this attack or loading, move from the sea zone to sea zone to sea zone to load more treasure and meeples or unload meeples at vacant colonies. So there's details here. If starting in pirating, decide whether you want to sail or do reconnaissance. If you choose to sail, place all your galleons, so this is a French galleon here, into any sea zone containing a site where you wish to load treasure. Well, I don't wish to load treasure because I have no treasure on the French colony. Do I want to emigrate citizens, right? So to emigrate citizens, I actually need to have citizens on a, not called a mission yet, but it starts off like this and then you build a cathedral around it. So I can't emigrate citizens, but I can initiate a land battle. During a sail, each galleon can load 1 token. Meeple is loaded by either enslave. I can. Okay, so maybe I could F3. It is restricted by the attack limit. It cannot be performed unless there's a vacant colony. Yeah, so it's not a vacant colony yet. So I cannot grab people because there's no vacant colony to take them to. But I can initiate a land battle. E5. And why would I want to do that? Well, let's see what I can get out of a land battle. I'm kind of thinking, okay, can I attack the Spanish here and take their treasure? Attacks and land battles. So you can initiate against an unoccupied site in the sea zone. Or I can sail. I can sail. I'm trying to figure out what else I can do. Reconnaissance, it says. I don't know where reconnaissance is. Oh, if you choose not to sail your fleet in pirating, I draw a haven card. So I can do nothing and just draw an extra haven card, which wouldn't be all that great. I've got two haven cards at the moment. I'd like to be able to take Spanish treasure, but can I do that? I'm trying to figure this out. So basically, it's interesting. I start my turn in pirating. I can initiate a land battle. Okay, so during my sail turn, I move one or more ships. They announce a land battle upon a site in its sea zone. The limitations: choose a single occupied site that at least partly in your sea zone. All right, so basically what I can do is I can say, all right, I'm moving these guys to Curacao. Oops, that's red. I meant to grab blue. Here we go. So they can move down here, for example. All right, or let's say I can go up here. The Spanish have that little thing. I don't know what the difference is in terms of range. This one just seems closer to Europe. Okay. You may never attack a site that contains a token of your colour, even if it's rebellious. That's fine. The first row of this table, the legality table, the first row of this table lists the 4 legalities and when each is allowed. So the 4, okay, so I am Callow, right? So I am Callow. Friendly port. So can I not attack if Callow? I don't think I can attack because I'm Callow. Initiate land battle. Friendly port legality. Colony of your colour. Can't attack any site. Load treasure, and I can't unload treasure. So I think because I don't have an occupation, it's illegal for me to do that. So I will stay in pirating. I can't see where it's quite spelt out. But yeah, this summarises the legalities basically. So I'll stay there and I'll just draw a Pirate Haven card, which is a bit different. It's fine. That might help me actually because I can move to another site and then swap if I'm in trouble. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so the French don't do much at all. They just reconnaissance and stay there. We now get to the English. All right, the English have a ship. They have a colony with a person on it. And they also see this. Now they are royalists. So what is the legality for them to attack? They're Oh, no, sorry. It's not what you are. It's the type of ship you've got. So they have got, the French have got, let's go back a step, leave them on top. They have got a privateer. My apologies. So can they initiate a land battle to enslave any time or to attack any site? So they can enslave any time. They can load treasure if we're at war. We're not at war, we're in peace. So basically, this is the Pax Hispanica. So we're at peace. So they can load treasure to legal export. Okay, and that's basically what they're going to do. So it is legal for their privateer to load this treasure. Hold on. I think I missed, when the Spanish did their thing, they were going to load a relic. I just realised I missed that. They did their ship, that's all I did. I completely forgot the rest of the Spanish turn. 3 actions. Move any fleet from Europe. Pirating, no. No, don't want that. This is what they want, the relic. This is what I forgot. Add a relic token to any colony. Relic token to any colony. Let's add it here. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so back to the French. They've got the galleon here. It's sitting outside this colony. We're at peace. Legal export. How do we do a legal export? Fleet victorious. It's not a rebellion. Ships and fleets. Sea battles. Load meeples. Loading treasure. Loading treasure and legality. If treasure is loaded from a colony, depending on flag's legality, yep, done that. So we look at, there's a special privateer section. The flagship will load treasure either by legal export from all sites during peace. B, doesn't say how we do that. By legal export. Treasure at your colony is not yours. Only treasure moved to Europe can be added to your dollars. You load one treasure from your own port or two more from colonies that you sack, blah, blah, blah. Once the treasure reaches Europe, use the legality of the surviving flagship to determine if the treasure is yours or the king's. Okay, so basically what I think is this treasure jumps on my ship. Oh, look at that, it fits nicely. Sort of. It hovers, but that's the idea there. Okay, so I'm a privateer. I have loaded up this treasure. Now I'm going to go figure out sail year. If your fleet survives with treasure, well, why wouldn't I? Oh, interdiction. So people can block me. So sailing around, blah blah blah. The fleet sails to an adjacent zone where it can continue to load or sail or load treasure or load and unload. Meeples. If carrying treasure, it sails to Europe or buries it on an island. Fleet sail, so you just sail around. Move from sea zone to sea zone, loading more treasure. End your sail turn with your fleet in either Europe or pirating. Okay, so basically I could grab a heap of treasure then, is that right? It's not, all the information's here, but it's kind of, I'm flicking back and forth all over the place. So you're going to go from sort of fleet, the turn, what you can do on the turn, now over to ships, and I'm not having a ship battle, I'm just loading treasure. A relic can be loaded by legal export in a friendly port only, or in any port by smuggling or sacking if I have smuggler or a plunder. Loading treasure. Alright, so I've loaded up the treasure. Once the treasure reaches Europe... Alright, so... okay, so I believe I can just go, yep, I'm going to keep moving. I guess I start movement here, load up this treasure, and I'm going to move here and load up that treasure. Oh, come on. All that, balancing all the treasure I can carry. You load one treasure from your own port. What's the limit? I don't know what the limit is. Treasure is loaded under legality. It doesn't have a limit. God. Loading treasure. If you enter a colony with a treasure, you may load it by putting it on top of an empty galleon. Once loaded, it can only be unloaded in Europe. If it's a plunder, loading relics, treasure, each of your colonies is a friendly port. Each of your colonies is a friendly port. Unless it's rebellious, you can load treasure from... Oh, come on. These rules are a mess. Okay, again, the rules are the information's here, but it's all over the place. So I'm on page 8. It says sail year. During a sail, each galleon can load one token. Okay, so I can't load 3. I can only load 1. let's just undo all that. There we go. We're back here. Control Z undoes this kind of stuff. Okay. Again, so the rules are here, but now I have to go to cargo in the... Each galleon can carry either one meeple or one chest, plus any number of relics. That's it. Okay. And that information is on page 30. So I go from page 8 to another page. Any site where you can load treasure, F4, F5. Then I have to flip to page 17 and 18. If it's friendly port, treasure is loaded from a colony, depending on the flagships. F4A. Yes, so if I load treasure in a friendly port, that's F4. If it's not a friendly port, in other words, if it's Spanish and I'm French, then I need a privateer, which the French have. There's my privateer down there. And it's legal. It's legal to conduct a legal export. It'll load the treasure from all sites during Pax. That's it. It loads it. I sail now to Europe. Boom. When I reach Europe, I go to F6. Treasure loading. Once the treasure reaches Europe, use the legality of the flagship to determine if the treasure is yours or the king's. This is a privateer, which means that the treasure is the king's, placed into the war coffers. Okay. I gain a reward of $2. $2 for each chest, and I can adjust the value of the mercantilism dice by 1 step. So where am I looking? I'm looking here. I don't care about the mercantilism dice. So let's increase that by 1 to make it harder for the Dutch and Courlanders to reach that objective, I guess. This represents my influence over the trade policies of the Spanish crown. Now, a treasure fleet may deposit any amount of treasure on any circled island on the map instead of returning it to Europe. This treasure may thereafter be picked up only by a fleet that discards the corresponding haven card. So I could say I'm going to dump my treasure on Tris Island. Tris Island. I would need to then... Or Trinidad. Trinidad might be easier because... Maybe not. There's a Trinidad here in Cuba, but that's not the Trinidad there. Whereas Trinidad's here, but they're talking about this Trinidad down here. This Trinidad. These is little circles. So if I have got Tris Island, then it is over here. Right, so I can dump my treasure. I could have dumped my treasure there, and if I hold onto that Tris Island card, then I can pick it up later on with a different type of ship, for example. For example, if I become a smuggler, I can then bury my treasure here. I don't have to give it to the king. I can come pick it up later on, and it becomes mine, and I get $4 for that chest. All right. So by giving it to the king, well, I didn't really have a choice because I've got a privateer, but by giving it to the king, I'm adding to this kind of victory, which is kind of helping. Yeah, it's kind of where the French are heading, at least. All right, so the French are done. Wow, that took a lot of time to figure out. Again, the rules are there. You just got to flick back and forth. French are done. Oh, I'm in the sail phase, right? Yep, okay, that's where we are. Now the English. And the English have got, what have they got? They have got a privateer as well. So exactly the same rules apply to the English. They grab their ship, they grab the treasure, they head back to Europe, they give it to the king, they get $2, they've got a bit of money now, which is great, and they're done. And again, they could have buried it on any island, I believe, but ideally they'd want to look at one of these. So we've got Port Royal here in Jamaica. Doesn't really matter where the locations are because, again, movement is unlimited. All right, so once you understand it, it's pretty straightforward. It's just hard to understand initially. Now the Spanish. Now they have got their smuggler. All right, what can a smuggler do? They would love to give their relic. Can they load a relic? A relic cannot be loaded by legal export except at a friendly port. They would love to get their relic back. So basically they grab their ship, They come down here. They can load their treasure and the relic and the relic, and then sail back to Europe. Now they're a smuggler. Load treasure by paying £1 to the colony owner. I am the colony owner, so loading, if it's a friendly port, load treasure, first determinant of the colony, yes, it is a friendly port. A relic can be loaded by legal export in a friendly port only. We then unload it. We're a smuggler, so the treasure is mine. I gain $4, and that goes back there. So the Spanish gained $4 for smuggling that treasure because of their smuggler type of ship. And the relic. Regardless of loyalty, you have 3 options when unloading a relic. Okay, so here's their relic. What can we do with this relic? Sell it for $8. Put it in my coffers as 1 relic. So here's the Spanish. They would love. They want 2 relics. So that's easy. We're gonna add it to my coffers as a relic. Okay, so they're halfway towards victory. Okay, or I can add to my war coffers for 2 chests. I don't know why I'd do that. War coffers. These are the war coffers. I could add 2, sell it basically to the kings, I think is the idea, and it counts as 2. If, for example, if the Spanish were down on royalists, but they only need 1 more relic, I think, and they win. So people had better watch out. And this card should be flipped as well. All right, now so the Spanish are looking for that relic icon down the bottom left there. All right, and they arrived back there. Now the Dutch. Is there any treasure left? Yes, there is down here. The Dutch, what have they got? The Dutch have got a privateer. Oh no, the Dutch are here. They have got a conquistador. What are the rules for a conquistador? Non-Spanish, they have to sack it. Okay. The flagship can load chests by legal export from Spanish sites. Okay, so we can legally export this treasure from, where'd it go? From Spanish sites. So this is the disadvantage of being Spanish, is everyone takes your treasure. We go back here, we are conquistadors. So the treasure is the king's, it goes there, and the Dutch get 2 coins. The Dutch, here we are. So I've got a quite disparity of money now. Everyone's got some money, so the Courlanders are like, oh, that's a shame. Conquistador, you gain a reward of $2 and may adjust the value of the mercantilism dice. Well, the Dutch actually do want a lower mercantilism dice, so let's give that a value of 3, because they want this. They want a low mercantilism, and they want tax rebels. Okay, and that's it. That's it for sale. So that's the end of another turn. How long did that take? I don't know how long the video's been going for. 58 minutes. Took about an hour to run through that turn. Actually, no, the goods phase was pretty quick. I did that off video, but there you go, folks. We're starting to get into the piracy side of things, but it's quite abstracted. You basically can unlimited movement, sail around. Once you have more ships, I believe, the examples are that, yeah, you follow the leadership of your flagship. So if you're a smuggling flagship, all your ships become smugglers, and they sail around, load up, and return to Europe. Now, question, do these guys, when they return to Europe, do they get a haven card? It doesn't say so in this section anyway. Loading treasure, loading meeples. Oh, look, the Spanish did that. They would love some... Oh no, they're doing pretty well. Their colonies, they've got people they can draw upon, so they don't need to move people just yet. All right, folks, I will wrap it up here, but there you go. Another turn in Pax Hispanica. Thank you all for watching, and take care.